Welcome to Fair Game. I'm Christine Leahy. My guest today has been a college basketball coach for nearly 30 years with stops at UCLA, St. Louis, Washington, Arizona, and he's currently looking to make waves in his second stint as the head coach of Pepperdine University. Three-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year, Lorenzo Romar. So good to meet you.
Well, good to be here, Christine.
So in 1980, there were 10 rounds still in the draft.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, right. Well, hey, you went in the 7th round,
Right.
Not quite the 10th, but
Right.
the way that you found out back then about being drafted in the 7th round was a little different. How did you find out?
It was. Back then, the NBA aired the first 4 rounds of the draft. So they televised it. So I didn't know if I was going to get drafted or not. I certainly didn't have the numbers or the stats or to know I was going to be drafted. I was hopeful that I would. And I watched the first 4 rounds and my name was not called. So the show ended. So I just went on actually back to the gym and was shooting around. And later on that day,
You figured you weren't going to get drafted?
I didn't know because I
Okay.
knew there was still 6 rounds left.
Okay.
So I didn't know what the case was, but I was just prepared for my name not being called. And our sports information director found me in the gym at the University of Washington, where I went to school. And he said, "Congratulations, you've been drafted in the 7th round by the Utah Jazz.
Okay.
Do you have a moment for us? One of the news stations would like to talk to you about it." So, yeah, sweet. Going to the Utah Jazz.
Had you met with the Utah Jazz?
No, I hadn't heard anything from the Utah
All right.
Jazz. So they're asking me questions. I remember the second pick in the draft was a guy named Daryl Griffith
Okay.
from the University of Louisville, phenomenal guard. Everyone knew who he was. I think he was College Player of the Year that year. And they're asking me these questions, and I'm saying, it would be great to be with the Jazz. I'm looking forward to playing with Daryl Griffith. And I hadn't made the team. They didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. So the night ends. I wake up the next morning. Back then, you looked at the newspaper. You didn't have the internet to look at the news. So I look at the newspaper just to see, okay, let's see where my name is in here. Well, it was the 7th round, but it was to the Golden State Warriors. So I hadn't heard from the Golden State Warriors either. Later on that day, someone from their PR department called me and just told me that I had been drafted by them and didn't really go into detail. Later, someone else contacted me. So I was kind of in limbo that day. I wasn't sure
Oh, where are you
if I
going?
was drafted, who I was drafted with, to, didn't know.
You wound up playing for 5 years, though.
I did.
In the NBA.
I did.
Congrats.
Yeah. Thanks.
Is there a favorite memory you have from your time playing?
There were a couple performances. I remember going back home. I'm from Compton, California. Grew up watching the Lakers and going back home, playing against them. And it was opening night, so they had won the World Championship the year before. So they had their ring ceremony, and we beat them. We were up by 20, and we beat them. I played pretty good that game. In terms of a game, that was a great memory. But just every night, I'm looking. I had all of these guys' basketball cards. So I was just a basketball junkie.
Oh, wow.
So I'm out on the court and I'm looking, okay, there's Julius Erving, Dr. J. There's another game. There's George Gervin, the Iceman. There's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm standing next to these guys in the game at the free throw line. I'm guarding these guys. It was that ongoing memory, going to play in Boston Garden, Madison
Yeah.
Square Garden, the Spectrum of Philadelphia. I watched games for years, and now I was playing in there. So it was an ongoing memory that rookie year of, you're really in here.
In the 1980s, you were making $42,000 on your rookie contract, right?
1980, I signed for $42,500. That was the minimum wage in the NBA.
And then when you left, you were making $52,000 a year?
My last year, I made $52,000. Yeah, the last contract, it was 52.
So even then, that's not a ton of
No,
money. And you can't save a lot, could you?
It was hard to save a whole lot because you weren't making a whole lot.
Right.
How about this? The first check, I'm like so excited. I'm getting ready to get my NBA check.
Yeah.
And the checks were distributed monthly, right? So the first check I get, I open it up, and it was more money than I had ever made. But in terms of the NBA, it was $2,000.
For the whole month?
Well, they had taken out union dues, taxes, And it was just $2,000. Now, I was fired up because I had never made $2,000 in a month. But
How crazy.
when you look back now, you know, that's almost what they get for per diem.
So you actually, exactly for per diem.
Yeah.
You actually, when you were done playing, you still needed money. You were expecting a kid. You had to
Right.
figure out a way to work.
Right.
So what were your options?
You know, it's unfortunate, and I talk to people and kids a lot about the importance of an education. You know, I was the guy, I hate to admit it, but it was true, Christine. I was the guy that didn't take school seriously.
Okay.
And I went to college for 4 years, but didn't get my degree. And I made the NBA. I probably wasn't supposed to, but somehow I was, you know, I ended up making it. And when it was over, when I had been released for the last time, or it's time to find a real job, but I had no qualifications for a real job. I didn't have my degree. I didn't have a master's. I didn't have a certificate of any kind. I didn't have a special skill trade that I had worked on. So only thing I could come up with was something, I ended up going door to door selling dictionaries.
Wow.
And it was embarrassing because I was in the NBA the year before. My wife, you know, she was pregnant with our first child. And it was something that, you know, just trying to make ends meet. We still had money. We still had some savings. So it wasn't like the last NBA game we didn't have any money. We owned our own home at the time. You know, we had we had a couple cars. I didn't live an extravagant NBA lifestyle by any stretch of the imagination. Didn't have the money to do that.
Right.
But there was going to come a point when that was going to run out. I was making $50,000 a year, so looking for the future, decided to go do that. And one day I was out doing my thing, walked into this big office building, and I walk in figuring that maybe I could unload all of these dictionaries in one stop. It's a big office building. The receptionist comes out. She says, "Can I help you?" I told her what my purpose was. She says, "I'll be right back. We might be interested." She went to go get her boss. Her boss comes back out, and he says, "Lorenzo Romar, how you doing, man? Hey, I heard about you getting cut. Don't worry about it. You're a good enough player. You'll be back in the league in no time." And he looked at the receptionist. He said, "Now, who's the guy that was selling the dictionaries?" And she pointed at me, and I don't know who was more embarrassed, her boss or me. You see, her boss was a season ticket holder
Oh, wow.
at all the Warrior games. He sat at half court.
Wow.
And that's what happened. And it was a great lesson. You know, I ended up going back, getting my degree. And, you know, it really, really taught me, it really drove the point home about the importance of an education. And that's why I've always vowed as a basketball coach to make sure that never happened to me. Everyone in our program, we work really hard to make sure that they get their degree.
Check out our YouTube channel, Fair Game on FS1, to catch all the best highlights of our show. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.